Good morning and welcome to Living Local 15. I'm Jessica Williams. Happy Monday. You already know it's time to kick it off with some motivation. Here's the quote. It is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light. As we approach the end of the year, things may feel a bit overwhelming as you plan for the holidays, decorating, travel plans, extra expenses, and all the things on your to-do list. It may be challenging for those who are alone during this season change or have lost a loved one and is experiencing grief with the holidays approaching. But just know you are not alone. You are not alone in your suffering because everyone experiences hardship, but it may look different to each individual person. But let me encourage you that in the midst of any darkness, there is light. Believing in your heart that this too will pass and working each day to find the things that bring you joy. We cannot control what happens to us. We can only control how we react to it. So choose happy, choose hope, and choose joy this holiday season. Okay, now let's get on with the show. First up, we learn about the upcoming We Care Holiday Craft event for all ages presented by the Boys and Girls Club and 111 Design. Then it's Money Monday, and Foster Financial gives us tips for shoeboxing receipts for your HSA account. Then later, our Best Reviews team shows us some top-tested appliances perfect for entertaining guests without the stress. Are you ready? Let's get started.
Fashion, food, and fun. You're watching Living Local 15 with your host, Jessica Williams.
We Care is an event hosted for the Boys and Girls Club to connect creative firms with their local club to design, create, and wrap 4 homemade gifts for the kids to present to their loved ones during the holiday season. And joining me today is one of their creative firms, 111 Design. And I am pleased to welcome Ellen Rowe, their marketing and customer experience coordinator, and Janet Rowe Nichols, their founder and president. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning. Thanks for having us. Thank you.
And the holiday season for sure, and ready to do these crafts.
Yeah.
Okay, so We Care, this is the 5th annual happening here in Fort Wayne. So tell me all about the event.
Yeah, so 5 years ago in 2019, we partnered with our local Boys and Girls Club to put on this event. Miller Knoll, used to be Herman Miller, now Miller Knoll, started this 27 years ago. And so we started partnering with our club just 5 years ago. So we've really had to pivot the past couple years to the pandemic. So this is our first year that it's all back in one place. We're going bigger and better than ever with our decor, our crafts, our partnerships. So we're really excited.
That is exciting. Yeah. And so Janet, tell me, what can people experience when they come out and the kids really get to learn something new?
Absolutely. Basically all year we plan for this event because the Boys and Girls Club here in Fort Wayne is one of the largest in the country that we host this event. So it's a lot of work, but we as elves transformed the gym at the fairly new Boys and Girls Club here in town into a winter wonderland where we set up stations for the kids to come through and make each of these gifts.
What is the age range for the kids that are invited?
It's kindergarten through high school, so we really like to cater and make sure everyone enjoys the event. So if they can be more intricate with their crafts, more detailed, they're able to, but if they need a helper along the way, that they have that support as well.
Yeah, and is this open to all kids in the community or specific to the members of the Boys and Girls Club?
Specific to the members of the Boys and Girls Club. Again, that's over 400 kids.
Right.
So if you multiply that times 4 gifts, we're creating over 1,600 craft
That's
gifts
awesome.
this year.
And you brought in a couple of examples of just different things that the kids can make. So tell me about what you brought in.
Yeah, so this is kind of an example of what the architect and design firms kind of support us with, is creating a craft kit. And so there's instructions in here. There's everything that one child needs to create this. This is a little more complicated one, earrings, but it was really sustainable because it was yarn used in a carpet manufacturer. We have Coke bottles that we've turned into snowman and reindeer, repurposed bags, a photo booth example. Yeah, so it's really fun to see the creativity and, of course, encourage the kids to think on a little deeper creative level as well.
And there's nothing better than receiving a personal gift that you make with your own two hands. So I love that. And so you all are a partner and involved with this event. So tell me about 111 Design.
111 Design was founded 22 years ago. We're a full-service interiors firm providing furniture and custom cabinets and design services to accompany those products and services. So we're very excited to use our talents and also partner with the local architect and design firms that we work with day in, day out to have a little bit of Christmas fun and utilize their time, talent, and treasure to bring this project to life.
Yes, and so your clientele, is this residential or commercial that you all
We
design
actually
for?
do both,
Okay.
Primarily commercial, but with our custom cabinet shop, we do a lot of residential work for that.
Okay, that's awesome. 22 years. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And you mentioned other firms that you work with. So can you share with me the other design firms around our community that will be partnering for this event?
Yeah, so we wanted to shout out Blackbird Design Resources, Dan Binford and Associates, Design Collaborative, Elevatus Architecture, Felderman Design Build, Garmin Miller, Grinsfelder Associates Architects, Interface, Longerbone Collective, MBN Properties, Michael Kinder and Sons, MKM Architecture and Design, Moak Park Group, Parkview Health, Planning, Design and Construction, and Serac Enterprises.
All right, that's wonderful. And so if someone is interested in participating in this event, it's going down on Wednesday, December 6th, right, from 3:30 to 6:30. Do they have to register in advance?
Yes, they should contact the club or our company to offer their volunteer services, or if anyone would like to make a financial donation to cover the art supplies, and that includes the tote bags, the tissue paper, everything that goes involved into creating these gifts to take home for loved ones.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, so the community can get involved by giving. I love that. They can donate and also volunteer, you said. And then for the kids that are participating, do they have to register in advance?
Yes, they do that at the club.
Oh, at the club. Okay,
Yep.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And then is there a website that people can go to learn more about this event?
Yeah, so you can go to our website, 111designonline.com, and we have a We Care events page. You'll find all the information, past pictures, and information there as well. So.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much, little elves,
you.
for coming in today.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Yes. Exactly.
And if you'd like more information about the We Care event that's taking place on December 6th, we'll have their website listed below, and we'll be right back.
Have an idea for the show? Want to find out how you can be a guest? Contact us at livinglocal15@wayne.com.
Do you want to know the best places to go to eat and drink around Northeast Indiana? Well, join me, Jessica Williams, for Living Local 15, weekdays at 9 a.m. as I take you inside of the best restaurants, new and old, explore their menu, and of course, mix up some cocktails. Where will I go next? Well, you'll have to watch and see, but I want to know, where do you recommend I go?
Keep up with Jessica Williams on Living Local 15, weekdays at 9.
This segment sponsored by Foster Financial. Welcome to Money Monday, focusing on providing women with financial insight catered to them. And joining me is Caleb Doan, the Vice President of Foster Financial. Good morning.
Good morning.
How's it going?
It's going well. How are you doing?
Doing good. Okay, so let's jump into it because last time we were talking about HSAs, okay, and all about the health care expenses that go along with it. And so we're going to kind of expound on that a bit more today, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. We kind of talked about how there was a study that came out that showed on average women are typically spending more than men on out-of-pocket medical expenses. And so it's important for everyone to plan for medical expenses over the course of their career and even in retirement, but it's especially important for women because it's going to be a little bit larger of a percentage of their overall expenses than it is for their male counterparts.
Right.
And so we talked about how HSAs are a great way to plan for that. It's basically an account where you can save and invest for qualified medical expenses. I think today I kind of wanted to focus on how I've seen people maybe misuse HSAs or not use them to their full potential.
Right.
And so I guess the first way that I've seen seen people misuse HSAs, I guess I would say, is when they come to us, they've saved money in the HSA for the past 10 or 15 years with their employer. Maybe they use a little bit every single year for certain out-of-pocket medical expenses, but overall it's grown. Now that's a great start, so that's certainly good to do that. Right. But a lot of times when I look at the statements, the HSA is completely in cash. So it's not generating any sort of interest, it's not invested in anything, and it was just sitting in cash while the market was going up over the past however many years.
Yes.
And so there was a missed opportunity there.
Right, because last time you had mentioned the fact that you can actually invest these funds. And I think that is something that's not always communicated by the employer when they're breaking down, hey, do you want this savings account or not? Because I remember when I first learned about HSAs in my first corporate job, I was like, oh, I can't. So I'm putting in money that I have to spend on medical and I can't touch it. So it was very confusing. But the fact that you said that you can actually touch that money to move it into an investment account. Kind of break that part down for us.
Yeah, so sometimes it's right within the HSA at work. If the HSA is held at Fidelity or wherever it might be, you could call in and say, hey, I want this invested, and they can give you certain investment options. Sometimes the HSA at work might not have investment options built right into the plan.
Okay.
And so you would actually need to take a portion of it, move it to an outside HSA account that does allow you to invest it. And that's where we as investment advisors can actually manage that for clients too.
Yes.
But even if there are very limited investment options in your HSA that you have at your employer, I would typically encourage people at the very least, depending on somebody's financial situation, to at least have the assets in something like a money market fund that's generating interest for them. It's still a pretty conservative type of fund, but it can actually generate some interest. Whereas a lot of times the statements that we get, it shows that somebody had $30,000 in the HSA over the course of the year, and they got zero interest or $10 or whatever it might be. And not only are they missing out on that interest, but all of that interest is completely tax-free as well, as long as you use it for qualified medical expenses when you eventually take it out. And so it's a great thing to take advantage of, but more often than not, when I see the HSAs, they're completely in cash.
Yes, and is there a minimum amount that someone has to have before they can actually turn that into an investment opportunity?
It's a great question. It varies by provider, but a lot of times they'll say, hey, you need to have $1,000 or maybe $2,000 in cash in the account that you can use. If you have a debit card for the HSA, then of course it comes out of the cash. But then anything over and above that, you can invest. So it depends provider to provider. I don't think there's like an IRS rule on it, but anything over and above that can certainly be a helpful thing to invest in the market.
Okay, and you mentioned the misuse of those accounts. Is there another way that that people may tend to misuse it and don't know about it?
Yeah, the other strategy that we like to leverage for clients is what we call shoeboxing your receipts for these HSA accounts. And so this is where if a client has the ability during their working years just to pay out of pocket for their medical expenses, as opposed to actually swiping their HSA debit card and using the money in the HSA, if they pay out of pocket, it allows that money in the HSA to not be used. And therefore, if that money is invested, it can grow for a longer period of time. So for example, they limit the amount that you can put in the HSA too. So I mean, if you're also taking money out, it's limiting the amount that is in the HSA in total. So for example, if somebody had a $1,000 expense come up, they have the money in their bank account, but they say, hey, I want to use the HSA because I have it here for me. Well, they use the HSA, that $1,000 comes out of the HSA, and now of course it doesn't have the ability to grow. That $1,000 is now out of the HSA. If instead they paid out of pocket for that $1,000, which, if they could afford to do so, then maybe we would advise that. That $1,000 could then be invested in the HSA, and then maybe 15 years from now, it's $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000, depending on what the market's done.
Right.
So sometimes we have people avoid using the HSA now in order to kind of earmark it for retirement. And the shoeboxing piece is that sometimes people will say, okay, well, what if I save all this money for my retirement medical expenses, but then we get to retirement and maybe I don't have as many expenses as I thought I would. What if I have 50 grand in this HSA and I don't have the expenses to get it out? Well, right now, there is no limit on the time that you can take to pull money out of the HSA and use it for the qualified medical expenses that happened in the past.
Huh.
So if you had an expense
Oh, you're talking
from
about retro.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Huh.
if you had an expense from 5 years ago and you saved the receipt, 5 years from now, under the current law, you could pull money out of the HSA, show them that receipt, and say, hey, this is totally tax-free.
Whoa.
And in the meantime, it allowed that money to grow, and so you get to pull out.
I didn't
more.
know where you were going with this.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah,
I
the
was
shoebox
like,
thing.
okay, the shoebox receipt thing.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, it's essentially save the receipts in a shoebox.
Wow.
Most of the time, this is actually just a file on your computer.
Right.
of
I was about to
course,
say a
but,
digital file.
Exactly.
15 years, that receipt will not be able to be read.
Right.
Okay, so, okay, that's really cool. But then let's just say that they don't have receipts. They've collected $50,000. They're in an older age. They don't need it. You can still use your funds for other reasons, but it's just like penalties or taxes. Like, what happens if you need to pull it out for non-medical reasons?
Yeah, so after 65, there's no penalties for pulling it out for non-medical expenses, but then you do pay taxes on it when it comes out. So, if you had a large amount in the HSA and you were getting to, 65, 75 years old, whatever it is, we could have people start taking withdrawals. So that's at, I want to say 65 that you're able to pull it out with no penalties. There'll just be some taxes if it's not for a medical expense. But I would say 90% of the time, people have a lot of medical expenses in retirement. They have no problem spending through the HSAs.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much, Caleb, for breaking down HSAs more for us.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you.
And Foster Financial is here to help women plan for retirement. So you can call them for a free consultation. Their number is listed below, and I'll see you after the break. This segment sponsored by Foster Financial.
Follow us on social media at Living Local 15.
The holiday season is upon us, and from the shopping list to the never-ending invites to parties, the last thing that you have energy for is that full-course meal. But joining us now with the top-tested holiday cooking must-haves to make this year a breeze is Senior Director of Content Operations at BestReviews, Jacob Palmer. Jacob, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me. It might not be a popular opinion, but Thanksgiving legitimately is my favorite holiday. And one of the things I've really enjoyed in the last few years is honing how I cook it. So I'm really excited to share kind of what I've learned, because BestReviews gives me a great opportunity to try basically everything and then tell people what's best.
All the good things. And as we're sitting here talking about any of these items, if you do want to shop them, remember to just scan that QR code in the corner of the screen. But we're talking holiday must-haves in the kitchen, Jacob, and you can't start without the pots and the pans.
Obviously cookware. That's a pretty obvious place when you start talking about cooking. So these are from Caraway. We love these and are some of our absolute favorites recently for a few reasons. Number one, you can see on your screen they look great. These will fit into most aesthetics. You can get them in all different kinds of colors. We love that. And then number two, for those people who are living in the city where space comes at a premium, we love how they've laid it out so you can store them vertically as opposed to having to take up all that counter space, all that drawer space or whatever. So we love that for those people as well. They look great and they also cook great.
Well, I love how you guys break down everything super simple for us and give us the product that really gives you the best bang for your buck. These are beautiful, and it sounds like these would work perfect for so many people. But you mentioned Thanksgiving, and if we want to cook a turkey, this might be a new way to do it.
Yeah, and a lot of people, what's the number one criticism when it comes to Thanksgiving? They think turkey is trash.
Yes.
I don't agree, number one, and here's why. We have figured out the best way to cook a turkey so you don't dry it out, and it is with this sous vide from Breville. This thing is awesome because basically it takes a lot of the work out of it. When you're looking at the oven, you're like, what is going on? When is this thing going to be ready? Am I going to dry it out? Am I going to undercook it? This takes that guesswork out of it, and then when you're done, you have perfectly moist turkey. Even the white meat is still moist when you cook it with the sous vide. And what's awesome about it is that you can track it on your phone too.
Now, another tool that you're going to need to cook on Thanksgiving Day is this right here.
Well, and the name of the game here is that the oven space comes at a massive premium on Thanksgiving.
Yes.
There's all different kinds of sides you need to make still. This is the Instant Pot. People know the Instant Pot, but you can use this to make desserts. You can use this to make sides. There's just so many different options you can do. And also the other thing is that you can do it fast.
Okay, so this is amazing. And this is another one of those big things that doesn't take up too much counter space, right? If you want to save that oven, stove. But this right here, the air fryer, that looks like a game changer.
And it complements everything else we've been talking about. You do the Brussels sprouts. This has a bunch of different features on it, so you can use it as a toaster oven or just as a regular oven. So again, when the oven space is running low, this is something that will absolutely supercharge your meal making.
Now, we addressed all of the bigger products, but what about the small things? They're important too.
Yeah, there's got to the little things, and especially, again, you want to make it fun. And so let's start with the baster here. Super affordable. It's got the face on it, and frankly, it's going nuts on social media right now, and it's become kind of this thing where people are using it because it's winky, it's fun, and it's also kind of cute. And so it's a great way to kind of keep the kids involved of, hey, look at that, will you pass me the smiley face? And then there you go. Now they've done it. And then finishing up, we've got the Get It Right series of utensils that you can use. And they're great because they're silicone, which means that they're non-toxic, and they also are heat resistant, so you're not running any issues there. And again, they just get the job done.
Man, you have me hungry talking about turkey here. Thank you, Jacob. We really do appreciate it.
And thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. If you want to learn more about any of these products, just head to bestreviews.com or scan the QR code on the screen.
Best Reviews is owned by our parent company, Nexstar. You can find more on the products and where to buy them on WANE.com.
Living Local 15, proudly driven by the Kelly Automotive Group.
Well, that's our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, you can always rewatch episodes or full segments of Living Local 15 by going to WANE.com or by downloading the WANE app. You can also check us out on our YouTube channel. And I'll leave you with this. While you're out, give a little smile, give a little wave, share a little light and love today. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your Monday. And I look forward to seeing you here tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Content segments during today's Living Local 15 were paid for by these sponsors.